It's 11 o'clock.
Hey, everybody. It is Dan and Heather. Hey, Heather, are you with us?
I am here. Thanks for having me, Dan.
You bet. Thanks for coming back. Last week was great. And this week, we're going to keep on keeping on. What we're going to be doing this week is we're going to start out with the upside down triangle. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Good. We're going to be focusing on this week again, resumes. Heather, in case some of you aren't familiar with her, is one of the industry leaders in job hunting, headhunting, resume writing. And so she has agreed to help us out with resume tips and job hunting tips. And we're going to continue on where we left off last week, which was in the upside down triangle, right, Heather?
That's correct. And
great.
Dan, feel free to jump in anywhere you see how your communications expertise for live communications like interviews or video interviews can come into play. I see a lot of correlation between our expertise. I like to think of it as I'm your voice on paper and Dan's your voice in person. So let's jump right in.
Thank you. And thank you, Jay McConnell.
Yes, Jay McConnell. Thank you so much.
By the way, Heather, if I do look a little bit unattached, it's because I'm going to be going through the comments and putting them up there as you do your thing. So I'm trying to do double duty. I'm in the moment.
That's why we're a perfect pair, Dan.
We are. Okay. Thanks, Heather. Go for it.
All right. So here we go with the upside down triangle. This is basically sort of a visual representation of what the logic of the resume is supposed to do. Now, last week, we identified the value of having a resume headline. What that does in an instant glance is qualify to the reviewer that you're in the right pile, that you're not a barista applying for a medical director position. And if you are a barista applying for a medical director position, there's some medical experience in there. So the headline is going to instantly qualify you and earn you the right for the reviewer to continue reading your document. So I use myself as an example. I have a nonprofit MBA. I have an MBA in nonprofit business management and then became an executive headhunter. So this cover letter I created envisioning perhaps recruiting for a nonprofit organization and or just recruiting for retained search and placement, which is a much higher level of sophistication in recruiting because rather than filling a bunch of jobs, you're basically sourcing through thousands of people to fill one position. So let's jump right in. I've got the headline, nonprofit, MBA, and executive headhunter. I drew the triangle around here because every section from the headline to the intro paragraph below is going to substantiate the previous section. And so let's dive in and get a little deeper. On the second slide, you can see anything that's boxed in purple is substantiating the claim that I have nonprofit business expertise. 501c3 landscape. Now that is the tax revenue code for organizations that have been deemed tax exempt because they are in service to relieve the government of the burden of serving the people for a specific cause. So this is a great use of a SEO optimized keyword. 501c3 is jargon that folks within the nonprofit environment are very familiar with. I automatically demonstrate my knowledge of the sector by using this instead of repeating the word nonprofit landscape. As we move along, you'll see I've highlighted or I've boxed the word donors. It's within another sentence that's encompassing the diverse constituents of stakeholders, but I'm just demonstrating how, again, I'm reinforcing that I have a nonprofit MBA as I flow down the document. Lastly, you'll see that I'm eager to employ a mission-driven mindset. All businesses have a vision or a mission or values, but the mission statement for a nonprofit organization is it's one of four essential elements that qualify them to receive that tax exemption from the government. It's basically the statement that gets them in the door. As we continue, you'll see that, so let's go through it and read it. My first sentence is, as we discussed last week, the elevator pitch. It's the introduction. Relentless talent acquisition specialist with approximately 10 years experience across boutique agency, global enterprise, and 501c3 landscapes. That's who I am. Notice I didn't once use the personal pronoun I, because this entire focus is on the person reviewing it, not me. They're not having a job available to serve my needs. I'm there to help serve theirs. So the second sentence is going to Demonstrate how I qualify for the position. Precision prospecting, adept relationship cultivation, and workflow design for scalability. These would be something you would find on the job description under minimum qualifications. So once again, before they even get past the introductory paragraph, I'm already in their mind the perfect candidate for this job. As you can see boxed in red, precision prospecting is substantiated further by the claim, I make needle in the haystack placements. Again, that's tailored to retained search, where you're looking for one person out of 100 million. I continue, passive talent. Again, I'm not posting jobs, having people apply for them. That's active. Those are active job seekers. I'm looking for people that aren't looking for a job based on their skill set and trying to encourage them to apply for the job that I have. And then lastly, the talent experience. It's very important when you're interrupting someone's day unsolicited that you have something valuable to offer. Hence, ensuring an optimal talent experience is a key critical factor for anyone that's hiring on a retained search. We'll continue.
Heather, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Just could you clarify for us once more the relationships between the boxes? I just want to make sure everybody gets it.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay, should on this slide or the previous?
That whichever one is fine, like the first box that's highlighted in red, and then they're all in just the relationship there.
Okay, just making you dizzy. Here we go. Precision prospecting. Now, this is something that happens in every single business. You're basically sourcing. You might be sourcing inventory. You might be sourcing people. You're looking for people who are qualified to buy what you're selling. And so in executive recruitment, we make placements. When we close a deal, we made a placement. And so needle in the haystack gives the impression that I'm looking for one very specific person with a skill set that's going to meet the needs of the employer. So that is what I mean to substantiate by precision prospecting.
Great.
Perfect.
So the light lines are supporting the thick word. Thick line word.
Yeah, thanks for asking that, Dan. So the thick box is essentially a header.
Great.
The thin boxes would be akin to bullet points underneath a header.
Great.
The reason I have it in a paragraph format versus a bulleted intro section is because nonprofit MBA and executive headhunting both require very concise communication skills. And so with bullets, you can basically use sentence fragments. I want to demonstrate that I can speak well and that I can write well, because that's a huge part of both of these jobs. That's why I opted for a paragraph intro as opposed to bullet points. And
so nothing in your resumes is by chance. Every single word it appears is very strategic.
Absolutely. I took the time to learn my target, and I'm letting them know that with each and every word. Because my career and my life is important to me. I don't want just a job I'm going to be unhappy and then have to spend my weeknights looking up Dan O'Connor videos on how to not get fired and how to keep myself sane. But
no, that sounds like a great life, but I'll just let you keep going.
We're so lucky that we have Dan to guide us in those really tumultuous situations, but it's scary when one's income is on the line. The probability of speaking up is a lot lower unless someone has money in the bank, which, as you can tell by my wallpaper behind me, that's not me today. So I'm on YouTube in the weekends looking up Dan O'Connor's training to help me get through the experience.
Thanks, Heather. Okay, you can keep going. I apologize.
Dan, I'm just kidding. Okay, let me move on. So the second sort of key, core qualification. And again, these thick bulleted boxes would be found on the job description itself. This isn't me just pulling from my vast industry knowledge. I'm actually doing something very simple, which is following instructions, which is actually hard. I have to make I don't want to do it that way. But guess what? When I do, it actually works out much better. So the second one is relationship cultivation. So I have substantiated that claim here boxed in the thin line as buy-in from diverse stakeholders. And then I go on to elaborate who those diverse stakeholders are. I do that for two reasons. One, to market the breadth of my relationship cultivation aptitude, But also, too, it's a great opportunity to put 3 SEO optimized, SE optimized keywords in the resume. The more of those I have, the more likely a recruiter on LinkedIn is going to come across my profile, and the more likely my candidacy makes sense to the person reviewing the resume. So I can develop relationships with diverse stakeholders, such as hiring authorities. That speaks to the executive headhunter experience, donors, that speaks to the nonprofit experience, and passive talent. Once again, that speaks to the executive headhunter experience. And if you scroll down, here we go, you'll see under the core competencies, I'm now substantiating how I accomplish all of these items boxed above. So I cultivate relationships with this group of diverse stakeholders by utilizing systems like CRM, customer relationship management software, video conferencing software, digital and live presentations. And so if I go back just one more time to the first slide, perhaps now you can see when it gets there how it's a upside down triangle, and it starts with the header. Does that make sense, Dan?
Yeah, it's great. Are you going to be able to, or will you be in the future, maybe doing a video on, or something live maybe, on people who have never, let's say, written a resume, how they could sit down and step by step make one of these, or you offer that service? I know as well, but are you going to be going into that as well?
Absolutely. Whatever's going to be helpful to the people is what I'm going to deliver.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay, so now let's continue on to the last section here, which is workflow design for scalability. That means that I know how to design workflows that other companies can duplicate and replicate. So this is really attractive to startups. This is really attractive to companies that have gone through an entire reorg and maybe want to start fresh and do something different. There's a lot of companies right now who, through just a lot of the external factors, have realized that their hiring and their employee experience delivery is deficient. And they're doing the smart thing by going back to the board and saying, we need to shape up. And so they might be interested in having someone like me come in and redesign their recruitment from start to finish. And so once again, if you see the thin lined blue box, design a first-time in-house recruitment functions. Again, this is really attractive to startups or companies that are ready to scale. Hence why I said in the header box, workflow design for scalability. And then lastly, in the core competencies section, I utilize Google Cloud apps. I utilize B2B intelligence tools in order to design first-time in-house recruitment functions. So that was a whole lot of information. Let me pause and see if Dan has any questions or if there are any questions from our viewers.
I am loving it. Let me see what questions the viewers have. Hey, Brenda, I'm glad that you found us. Okay, we have...
Ooh, it's so much fun.
Returning to college, great, Alina. Oh, good for you. Okay, I'm trying to go through the comments without being too distracting.
Okay.
Haiti, we have a lot of people on from different countries today. Thanks to everybody for joining us.
Absolutely.
Okay, nope, I think we're good to go.
Okay, excellent. Well, then if you think of anything, leave a comment and or send myself an email or Dan an email after the show.
Great.
And so now what we're going to do is evaluate an actual cover letter that was sent to Dan for a little bit of guidance. This person actually sent a cover letter and resume. It looks a little small. Is that small?
I think it looks okay.
Perfect. So the first thing I notice, and I'm interested to see if Dan will notice anything on this cover letter. And I also want to just make the disclaimer, this is a cover letter that was produced and intended to be used outside of the US. So there are sometimes differences between best practices, but in general, I think that they're pretty much all the same. So if we start to review this cover letter, this person starts to say, I hereby apply for a job as a specialist in technical services, which I saw advertised on website alfred.is. I didn't know what that was. I looked it up and translated the page, and it turns out it's a job board. So let's just keep that in mind.
Okay.
This person continues looking for an interesting future job. And then I'm just going to skim through here. In my younger years, it soon became apparent I was interested in technology. Let's keep going. I have a lot of experience helping. I'll keep going. I am convinced that those advantages. The next sentence, I like solving problems. And, you know, he makes a valiant effort here to reassure the reader he's the right person by saying, I am confident that OK, which is an acronym for the company, can benefit significantly from what I have to offer. Dan, did you notice any pattern in that?
Yes, Heather. And I'm glad that you're using this as an example, because this is something that somebody just sent in, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that that's a pretty common thing that a lot of us do. If we're
100%.
promoting ourselves at a company, we believe that we should, that's natural that we would start off with I. So
Yes.
how would you change that? Because as you mentioned, I believe you said, how many I's did you count in there?
You know, I think I stopped after 5, but when I went through my professional resume writing certification course and exam, which by the way was the hardest exam I've ever taken in my entire life.
Wow, I didn't even know there was one.
I didn't either until I discovered it. And, you know, it turns out there really is a great deal of psychology behind the formula of good business writing. And it's something you touch on actually in your video that mentions professional modern communication. I don't remember which video it's titled, but you make a great distinction between familiar communication and formal communication. And you identify the sweet spot in between. And this cover letter is going to embody a great demonstration of doing that in writing.
Great.
Yes. So thank you, Dan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You are the best student ever. I can't believe it.
So yeah, ask all my teachers. They'll tell you the exact same.
I bet they will.
So will my bosses. That's how I got good at writing resumes.
Yep. I was wondering when I first met you, I said, how did you get so outstanding in your writing skills? And you told me, oh, I don't know. I just really like you. You were very modest. And now I get it.
Let's be honest. I told Dan the truth. I got fired a lot. And so I had to get good at writing resumes. And I just sort of discovered there are tricks to this trade. You know, I also discovered when recruiting scientists for some world-renowned pharma companies that the world's most brilliant scientific minds produce the most horrible resumes. And I needed some structure to make sense of this. And in pursuing the certification, I certainly found it. And now I'm here able to share it all with you.
Gosh,
and so
this is great.
It's so much fun for me because words are so magical. They're such freedom and they open doors or they close them. And that creates a different experience for our life. And I'm all about living well. And Dan, that's what I love about your messaging is you're that way too.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah.
You're the best guest I ever could imagine.
Yeah, that creatine drink I had for breakfast is also totally kicking in.
Okay. I'm with you.
So let me get back to I over
Thank
here
you.
on the cover letter.
Yeah. What's the easiest way to change when you see all of the I's in your own writing? If one were to see that, how would we then change that?
Sure. The frame of mind is, am I trying to hire myself? No, I'm trying to get somebody else to hire me. So I need to speak about what they care about, not all the wonderful things I've done. There is a time and place for that, but there's a strategy where to infuse it. And that's what slide number 2 is going to show.
So is this the same letter now on slide number 2?
This letter goes along with this resume, which I couldn't do much with without having a live discussion with this person, which if you're watching right now and recognize this resume, I'm happy to do that with you. So just let me know. But what I did here was scan through the resume and make common sense assumptions on what the impact of the duties listed here accomplished for the company. With that information, I can then craft a compelling cover letter by referencing it in a short and concise way. One thing I do want you to notice as I flip back and forth is the integrity of the formatting in the header. That alone makes a great first impression. It shows that someone took the time, that they are consistent, and that there's order within their candidacy. So again,
great. Can you show that again? Because I didn't get a good look at it.
Absolutely.
So the header is identical.
It's absolutely identical. It's your personal brand. You know, you're not just marketing your professional experience. You're marketing how you're going to come to the office every single day. You're marketing how you're going to be able to keep it together when the pressure goes up. You're marketing a whole lot other than what's on paper. And that's why it's really important to not put too much on paper. because then you're left without anything else to share throughout the life cycle of the hiring process.
Thank you. And you're going to be getting into that of like how to judge how much to put on and where to stop.
Absolutely. And just
Great.
to recap, so everyone can make great sense of what we're presenting here, how much to include is how much is relevant. So there's no such magical number as 1 page or 11 pages. I mean, you might be the president of the United States if you're submitting an 11-page resume, but ultimately you're doing one thing. You're answering the question, can you solve my problem? And so if that takes 1 page to answer, then it's 1 page. If that takes 2 pages, then again, so be it.
So if I were to have one question sitting in front of me the whole time I'm creating my resume package, it would be, how can I solve your problem?
Absolutely. Which would then naturally lend you to the next thought, which is, well, what is your problem? Well, that's where the research comes in. And so if we're just applying for jobs without understanding the problem they're advertising that needs to be solved, do we really belong out applying there? Do we really belong there? And, again, that's a personal preference. You can have a job, or you can have a transformative career that you enjoy going and giving your all to every single day, and just watch how that unfolds in your life. So,
and I had a question
Yes.
from Cool Breeze. Where can somebody get that type of certification that you were talking about, a resume writing, if one wanted to take the course?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I love that mentality. I went to the National Association of Professional Resume Writers, NAPRW. And you know what? That's something I should put on my resume. I don't even think about that. This is why it's always great to outsource your resume writing to a fresh pair of eyes and ears.
Yeah, I would agree. It's kind of like being your own lawyer. You don't want to do that. You want to hire another good lawyer.
Absolutely. And so, Dan, if you want me to critique your communication skills, I'll be happy to do that for you. And you can critique my resume and we'll call it even.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And by the way, I put in the chat NAPRW, the National Association of Professional Resume Writers.
Yes.
That's where you took the course. Okay.
Yep. And it's basic. Yeah. Check it out. You'll figure out what it is. If you have questions, feel free to reach out after the show.
Okay.
Okay. So again, now let me just recap, because we put a lot of information in between. This is the original cover letter. It's the I letter, I. And the second one, if you'll notice, I don't know that there's even one I. So in addition, this is something I think you can really speak to, Dan. Imagine this letter playing out in person. Someone comes into your office and immediately starts by saying, I hereby apply for a specialist in this position. I'm interested in future opportunities where my experience and knowledge, blah, 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 in my younger years. And they just basically start divulging their entire life story without ever once pausing and asking, do you want to hear this story? Or, hi, good morning, how are you?
Right. How are you? I understand you need this.
Absolutely. And that's where I thought your modern professional communication could really lend some credibility to the sort of the philosophy that I'm trying to demonstrate here.
Thank you. Yeah. And I can certainly, for the person who wrote this, we can understand why you would do that, right? Because it's as if you're feeling like, this is my big shot, I have to tell you everything about. It's just a shift in the tone, right?
Yes. And we actually have a wonderful clip to show at some point where we show you what that tone looks like when it plays out live.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes. So we'll get there momentarily. The other thing that you'll notice is that this cover letter isn't addressed to anyone. So again, Dan, if this is a live conversation, who's this person speaking to?
Right.
Anyone that will listen, basically. So we don't want to come across as someone who's speaking to anyone who listen by divulging our entire life story and not once actually speaking to the needs of our audience. So again, I want to remind you, I got this letter in Icelandic. I Google translated it. I've never seen this company before, but let's watch what happened when I did a 30-second search. And I've made a video of this that I'll post later so that folks can go ahead and do this on their own. But Dan, would you mind? Could you read this for me?
Sure. From the beginning?
Yes. Start with the date.
Okay. The date, July 17th, 2022.
When is that's today.
That's today.
I just did this. I'm so excited for this opportunity that I stayed up all night creating this letter. So it was the first one in your inbox this morning when you came in, before any of your coworkers pissed you off, before you spilled coffee on your shirt. This is what you're going to start your day off with.
I love it. And that is the tone that came across. Perfect.
Okay. Secondly, what's the next thing you noticed, Dan?
It's attention, Ellen.
Yes.
Managing Director of HR and Culture. You not only knew my name, you knew my title.
I did. And you know what? I'm not psychic. All I did was go to LinkedIn. I looked up the company on the company's page. I selected people. And at first I typed in technical services because, again, this person is pursuing a role in technical services. Now, the LinkedIn results didn't return anyone with a relevant technical services title. It returns someone with a customer success title. It's not the right person to contact about a job in technical services. So then I went to my backup plan, which works every single time. What time? Every single time. Look up someone in the human resources department. And that's precisely who this is. And I hope she doesn't mind that we're doing this. But
so now I know, but just by looking at I haven't even gotten to the body yet, but I know, wow, somebody who took the time to invest in finding the right person. They went that extra mile.
yes.
I'm already impressed. And by the way, someday might you teach a course, Heather, because everybody's asking you for courses and more information on how to use LinkedIn the way that you use it to find these types of contacts.
I so look forward to making that course. Absolutely.
Great.
100%. And I love what Dan just said. He recognized that before we even got to the body of the letter, I've already created a mood for the reviewer, and a positive mood.
Very.
And that mood is the lens through which this person, Ellen, is going to perceive the remainder of the content on my document. So there's another one of Dan's videos where he talks about helping people find their happy place in conversation. It's a really funny video where he's pretending he is a new employee and he's talking to he's pretending he's interviewing new employees at a company. And they're saying, yeah, I really like my experience. And he says, well, tell me about that. You know, what's so great about this place versus your last one? And they start to mention, oh, the pens are really great. The internet's super fast. And the spaghetti in the cafeteria is just off the charts.
I said that.
Yeah, well, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but then what Dan continues to coach us to do is to have that person pause in their happy thought. Someone's happy thinking about the great spaghetti in the cafeteria. And he probes them a little bit more by saying, tell me about the best plate of spaghetti you've ever had. And then the person starts to think, oh, it was when I was in Paris on my honeymoon with my husband that I love. And all of a sudden, while that person's looking at Dan's face, they have a flurry of, dopamine and other happy people going through, I think it's a little NLP, but I'm not too sure. I've never dove too deeply into that subject, but it's the same principle here. This introduction, the same way the headline does on the resume, creates the mood. And you want the person to be in a favorable mood when they're evaluating your candidacy. So that's the strategy behind that. And,
would there be a better time than others, speaking of, to send the resume, for example? Should it be there while they arrive in the morning, or would you rather send it after they already had their coffee? Is there a good time?
Great question. I think the worst time to send it is on like a Thursday evening or a Friday morning. I personally like to send those types of things Monday evening. Monday evening? Yes, because people come back from the weekend and they have already a barrage of emails that require their attention that might be priority over hiring. Even when hiring is a top priority, folks still have to take care of the operation that's currently running.
Sure.
And so I tend to think that Tuesday morning, so if I was to send the email maybe Monday night at 9 p.m. Now, again, this assumes that I have the person's email address, which is another course and another video that I'll get into, but everything is available on the internet. There is no information we can't find.
Uh-oh, great.
So you can take the chance of submitting your resume through some internet black hole called the application tracking system, or you could circumvent the entire application process and put it right in somebody's inbox and in the right person's inbox. That in and of itself increases your chances over 50% to get the attention that you're looking for.
I love it. Circumvent the entire system and just go straight to their inbox.
It's the same philosophy of why do we have to only apply for jobs that are advertised as open? Maybe those ones aren't working for me. Well, guess what? We don't have to. We actually don't. There are other avenues to this that the technology enables. It just makes it such fair game that if I owe it to myself to do that personally. Getting fired is traumatizing, let me tell you.
Heather, what would you say? And I apologize for interrupting. I'm going to just snap it. But when you are sending out Heather,
yes,
resumes for a client, for example, what is a good rate of return? What's a good success rate? I mean, if I'm sending out resumes, how many interviews should I get per 10 resumes I send out? Let's say and then I know I'm doing it right. That's
a great question. I don't know that you'll like my answer. So
that's okay.
You're doing it right if the person whose attention you intend to garner responded. Let me say that again a little better. You're doing it right if the person you hope responds does respond.
Okay. So you really shouldn't be focused on 10 resumes. You should be focused on the one.
I think so. I mean, this is, again, my philosophy of I don't want to just take any job. I want to go somewhere I'm happy. Where I'm happy, I'm going to perform the best, and then they're going to receive me the best, and everyone's going to be happy. So
fantastic.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to interrupt you.
Okay. Again, so just to recap for the context, I got this original CV, this cover letter and by the way, kudos to you for creating a cover letter. A lot of people don't, and I appreciate the fact that you did. And so I'm going to just show you real quick the first sentence and then compare it to the new one. I hereby apply for a job as a specialist in technical services, which I saw advertised on the website Alfred is. Alfred is akin to ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Glassdoor, etc., any job board. Now we'll look at my first sentence, which says, first of all, hi, Ellen. I hope this note finds you doing well. Again, that's just having common courtesy and manners. And then secondly, I'm writing to express interest in the technical services opportunity advertised on the company's careers page. What that does is it lets the hiring manager know that I'm not just looking for any job on a job board. In fact, I'm looking only at your company because you're exactly where I want to be. And so I don't know if you missed that, Dan, or not, but I was just saying how the original letter references finding this position on Alfred is, which is a job board. And my rewrite specifies and encourages folks to go to the company's career page and see if the job is posted there specifically so you can reference it in the cover letter. And I show you, hi, Ellen, hope this letter finds you doing well. That's like knock, knock, good morning. Do you have a moment to chat? So first, I'm earning the right to even pitch my case. Secondly, I'm writing to express interest. There's my one eye. I'm wrong. There it is. I'm writing to express interest. Notice I didn't say my interest because I'm trying to move away from the personal pronoun. I'm writing to express interest in the technical services opportunity advertised on the company's careers page. I'm not looking at any job on a job board where there's every job. I'm looking at your job. I'm looking at your company because we're the right match.
Great. So you're already in the very first sentence identified that you are personally involved with them.
Absolutely. And I have received really wonderful feedback throughout my career from hiring managers say it was really a very effective cover note. And, I don't know that they always read the entire thing, which is really the point. I've gotten resumes as a recruiter before where I get to the first experience. I don't read the rest of it. I'm already on the phone calling them. I don't need to know. I already know you're him. I already know you're her. Let me get them on the phone right now. So the prospect of contributing to the Climeworks Carbix initiative. I don't know anything about this company. All I did was go on Google, type in the company name, and it's the first headline. They're promoting their initiative. And if you actually go to this company's website, and you'll see it in the video that I made while doing this, there's a section called news. I pressed the news link and I discovered that they're currently involved in an operation which is aimed at disposing of carbon dioxide at 10 times the current rate which it's being disposed of. So here we go. I'm just going to not comment and just read on through. The prospect of contributing to the Climeworks Carbix initiative is not only exciting, but an arena in which 10 years experience, not my 10 years, but an arena in which 10 years experience in technical services repair and troubleshooting will bode well. This is just one reason this opportunity is particularly attractive.
Okay, I know I said I'm not going to, but I have to interrupt. So that first sentence,
Yes.
I love the way you just mentioned that you put 10 years experience, but you're talking about the company's 10 years experience. And you're talking about the job, or you're talking about the project that they're working on that was not necessarily part of the ad, but you researched that and found it out. And so the person reading this is like, oh my God, you know what you'd be working on and we haven't even told you.
That's absolutely right, except I am trying to convey that it's my 10 years of experience. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. I thought about putting in the my, but was really trying to be super tight, but that's a great call out. So, but you're absolutely right about the second thing. Because when we go on to the next paragraph, in brief, technical expertise across technology, electricity, and computers at large positioned Effecta, awards, and in. This is where this person previously worked. All I did was glance at the person's resume to know that. So in brief, the technical expertise, really saying my technical expertise positioned these past people, which may or may not be your competitors. That's another great tool to use. To champion challenges, OR, that's the company that we're applying to, what I call my target, will face along its journey to dispose of CO2 at 10 times the present rate. Again, if you open this company's webpage, OR, the first thing you see is the bold headline that talks about Climeworks and Carbix. I have no idea what these people do. I don't know who these companies are, but that's what it says on the company's webpage, that Climex and Carbix are working with this company, OR, and their mission is to dispose of carbon dioxide at 10 times the present rate. So right here, I'm letting them know precisely what you called out. I not only know who you are and what you do, but I'm showing you how what I've done is going to get you there. And that's why I didn't spend any time on a job board looking for any job, because this is what I eat, breathe, and sleep. And that's why it's a no-brainer. You don't need to interview anybody else. Hi, my name is Heather. I'm ready to go. And that's essentially the tone of voice that I'm trying to convey.
Totally. It's so aligned with, if I were the company, it would be so aligned with our objectives and our mission. It's incredible.
Yeah, I envision sometimes hiring managers reading my cover letters and being like, we're doing that?
Right. They're passing out as they read these letters.
They're just like, oh, that's what's on my agenda. That's what that calendar meeting means. Perfect. Thanks, Heather. Like, yeah, let's get her in here. She can do
it's such an art form.
Yes. And again, it's really, your domain of expertise. It's really about being able to speak to others' interests without sacrificing my own, because we're equal and what we both need and feel have equal weight. And there's a way to communicate that in an exchange that doesn't compromise either one of us. And
that's so beautifully put.
That's so hard, Dan. I have Rosetta Stone for Spanish and Hebrew, and then I come across you and I'm like, I don't even know English yet. What am I doing trying to learn another language? So
you are the mistress of cross promotion. I just can't get over it.
Oh man, what's that?
Okay, I apologize.
I'll have to look it up after the show. I'm not familiar with it. And so again, if we go to his resume, all I did was look through what he said. And so he just said that his duties, participates in AI software development where I use Python. Now here I'm using my imagination and just assuming that Python would be something useful to his target. So let me just continue. This is just one reason this opportunity is particularly attractive. In brief, so this is the part where now I talk about myself. After I've talked about you, after I let you know that I've earned your right to listen to me, unsolicited, uninvited, just coming here and telling you what you don't know you need, that is a very sensitive approach, and it needs to be approached with a lot of respect and a lot of care. So in brief, so for your review, my resume, there's one for your review, my resume is on the following page, and for your convenience, for your review, it's for your convenience. A few highlights are bulleted below. So you know what? If you don't even want to read the resume, just read these 3 bullet points and pick up the phone.
You don't even need to read. Just here you go.
Just send me a chat. You want my social and a W-2, and there you go. Right. So piloted AI development using Python, which subsequently adopted by key departments company-wide. Again, I don't know if that's particularly true or not because I haven't spoken with this person. However, typically my cover letter is only going to be from experience that we discuss as true. As I mentioned in the last video, there is absolutely never any justification to lie when pursuing a new opportunity. So I will say I've been fired before. It has never once been for misrepresenting myself. You know, it's just that.
Well, that wouldn't be fun if you misrepresented yourself, because if it's actually consequential, whatever you're misrepresenting, then you'd have a terrible time trying to live up to that.
It is 100% fraudulent, and that is a huge no-no. And then the other thing I want to talk about, just on the terms of looking for jobs and just applying anywhere, keep in mind what you're doing when you're applying everywhere. You're signaling to a bunch of different hiring managers your intent to leave your current position. Now, not everybody has a lot of integrity and lives by really great values. It could be the case that they start to talk. Maybe they know each other. Hey, did you know John Doe just applied to our job? And then all of a sudden, it's not fair, but it happens. All of a sudden, you've got a boss who's angry at you. You have no idea what you did. It's just because you're trying to advance your life applying to places feverishly because you can't stand the place you're in. And so, you know, it's like, I'm just trying to breathe.
I'm just feverishly applying for other jobs. What? Isn't that normal? No, by the way, and I apologize for interrupting again. By the way, that's a strategy that some people recommend, that you are constantly, and I have always done that. No matter where I'm working, I'm always out there looking for other opportunities, because for me, I believe that it keeps even if people don't know it, on a subconscious level, it keeps your value high and hot because you're a hot ticket and there's other people who might be interested in you. Do you agree with that or not?
Again, there is really no hard yes or no.
Okay.
All I know is that as a recruiter, I've come across the same person's resume for a job I posted 6 months earlier. And my first question is, why hasn't anyone picked this person up yet?
Gotcha.
Why are they still? And again, I look at it with a critical eye and say it's a fine resume. It's good. So that lets me know this person is probably being asked to interview, and that's where the problem is. And this is why I believe it's so important to understand the purpose for reaching out for a resume first, because it may not be that the resume needs any help. It may be that you're showing up to the interview and completely bombing it by going in there, maybe perhaps not saying good morning, saying I, and not knowing anything about the Climax Carbix initiative and, you know, these sort of things, which, by the way, I don't mean to sound harsh. This is 100% normal and common. It's just not something that's taught. To market ourselves at the same time, market our ability to solve others' problems. It's a very delicate line. And that's why we're so lucky to have someone like Dan O'Connor to help us do it in person and someone like me to help us do it on paper.
Yes, you're the expert here. So I apologize. Go on.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean to give you. I'm done.
And then lastly, I just want to point out one thing he did, which I really enjoy and appreciate. He says at the bottom, finally, I want to point out that I'm a non-smoker and adopt a healthy lifestyle. He practices hot yoga. I just got into it. I love it. Super cool. And enjoys salsa dancing. I think there's this wonderful woman, you know, that kind of salsa dance. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. And I hope to hear from you soon. So what he's doing there is value matching, which is what we spoke about last week. And it's actually... Yeah, and it's actually let me just switch right here for one momentario. When you value match, it's the last sentence of the introductory paragraph. Eager to leverage mission-driven mindset in a corporate setting, committed to delivering a talent experience. From this sentence, I can glean that the company to which I'm applying has a mission to deliver a stellar talent experience. And so right there, I'm qualifying that our values match. Okay, but let me just go back and close out this cover letter because there's one more to get to. And I feel bad, Dan. I'm like monopolizing the whole hour. And
that's what you're here to do.
Okay, perfect. Then I don't feel bad at all. Thank you.
You shouldn't. I put, by the way, your website link, Higher Writing.
Yes.
Oh, but I got an error, but there we go. I put Heather's website link, higherwriting.com or heather@higherwriting.com, correct? I put that in the chat for you.
Yeah, it's info@higherwriting.com.
Thank you. Info@higherwriting.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of weeks, I'll add another user.
Okay.
Perfect. So this person does great. He's touching on all of the good philosophies. He says, you're in an area where my expertise matches. That's when he described his technical expertise that started in his younger years. You know, that again is a story to tell during the interview, not on the resume. And he then talked about his lifestyle coinciding. So this person just qualified himself as a fan. He's a fan of the company. By saying that I found this position advertised on your careers page, it means I'm not looking for any job. I'm looking to work with you. I'm your fan. And the fan is the best hire, because the fan is like the guest we had on last week, who was from, I think, YouTube or Netflix. And I said, this person's a fan because she's spending her time, her free time, learning about skills to bring back to the workplace. No one's paying her to do this right now. This is her intrinsic motivation to do a great job, to actualize, to bring her best self. And when you have individuals doing that for a company, the company is lifted up. You spoke about being lifted up in your most recent AOC video. And I loved what you said, where essentially we need to go around the people that we want to embody or who we aspire to be. This is a theme you talk about in a lot of your videos, but that's actually the same principle here. So lastly, the cover letter reports, Glassdoor.com reports OR's culture is one which fosters personal, professional, and leadership growth. It's refreshing to discover your company embodies its position as a leader for quality life. Again, I didn't do much research on this company. I went right to their webpage. I scrolled to the bottom where their footer is, where usually you'll find their tagline. Their tagline is usually some rendition of their mission. And their tagline was the basis for quality life. So now I'm making a story by connecting the fact that this person is an avid hot yoga attender, salsa dancer, and non-smoker as quality living. And so without saying I do this, I'm saying look how we fit together. I'm changing I to we throughout this entire document is what's happening.
Great.
And, yep. And then lastly, at your convenience, I welcome. So, okay, I'm going to try to do one that has no I's whatsoever, but
you don't have to.
I welcome the opportunity. And this is the zinger. This is something that you want to take with you in your interview.
Okay. This is a zinger.
This is a zinger. Here we go. Are you ready, Bella? Zinging.
Where is Bella?
Here she's like,
hey,
yeah.
Bella.
Bella.
Okay, ready. Is she ready for the zinger?
She's so not interested. She's employed. She gets everything for free. She doesn't need a job. Okay. So I welcome the opportunity at your convenience. I welcome the opportunity to meet for live discussion about your most pressing needs, and of course, detail how my proven experience and affinity for environmental health will undoubtedly help meet them. I'm asking for a conversation, not so I can learn more about the opportunity, me. I'm asking for a conversation so I can learn more about your needs and then discuss how I can help you achieve them. It's all the same thing, but it's just the wording and it's the sentiment in the delivery that makes the key difference. I know there's that famous quote. I don't know who says it, but people don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. And perhaps this person has gone the entire week without anybody asking them, how you doing? You know, how do you feel about having this job open, or saying good morning, which we did in the very beginning. Hi, Ellen. I hope this letter finds you doing well. Maybe nobody said that to this person at all. I mean, you're really getting opportunities here to touch on multiple levels.
God, you're so right. I remember Pearl was the name of the woman who I had met her one time during a seminar. She did not talk, but during that seminar, just by chance, the opportunity came up for her to mention, I haven't been touched in years. And I'm like, what? You know, and she said, she reinforced that. And everybody sort of giving her hugs and stuff because because of her lifestyle, whatever, she hadn't been touched by a human being, she said, in years and years. And now Pearl, I'm sure, is like, get away. Everybody's hugging me all the time. But yeah, you never know how somebody's, you never know how few personal emotional connections people sometimes have the opportunity to make.
Absolutely. And you never know where people come from or what they've been to, and everyone deserves the right to have a fresh start, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, everyone, obviously there's real evil out there, but I don't think that people like you and I come across that too often. And
you know, that personal emotional connection that you make, I just wanted to reinforce, because you make it with everybody, that makes you such a special person, because you really take to heart every single person that you meet is your assignment. And if you even the people whose faces you've never even seen, like this person, you've already made the job hiring person your assignment, and you've blessed them already, even if they don't ever call you. I think that's wonderful, Heather.
Absolutely. I think that we just, I have a hashtag I use a lot called Go for More, and it's not to encourage gluttony or greed, but it's really to like encourage self-worth and self-realization. And
You have to
so,
warn me before you say things like that.
yeah,
You make me pass out.
I live to make Dan laugh. And then let me just wrap up on something that we touched upon and people have asked a lot about. I think you guys will have to come back next week for some of the questions on how to fill in employment gaps. And there was another thing I wanted to ask Dan to touch on.
Okay.
But really quickly, I just want to show you one thing about this resume, which was also sent in to Dan at his request. So immediately I'm distracted by the background, by the graphics. Again, these types of graphics are things that will skew the OCR, the ocular character reading software inside the ATS, the applicant tracking system. Just want to use plain white paper. Everything else is okay. It is long. For the pursuit of evening supply assistant, I don't know that it merits having 3 pages, but what's really critical here, I want to bring your attention to, is the last page. Hold on. Is the education. And what you can see is that I can just, I can do a quick math equation, and math is not my thing, but it showed that I think it's the banner is in front of the document, so I can see it's 2007, I think, that this person pursued certification. And then Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, the associate's degree was earned in 2009. Is that what it says?
Oh, rats. I apologize. My banner's covering it. I can't.
Oh, yours too. Okay. I'm pretty sure.
I just X'd out of something by mistake.
That's okay. So basically what this person did was leave the years that they accomplished these degrees. So we all know that logically people graduate high school around 17, 18 years old. So there's no way that it's very unlikely that this person pursued this certification in 2007 at any age younger than 18.
Oh, I see.
And so in this way, they are opening themselves up to automatic bias, ageism. So again, let's see, 2007.
They're opening themselves up to ageism.
Yes, by revealing the years in which they most likely graduated high school, which we all know in America, at least, is around 17, 18 years old.
Oh, so at what age do you start keeping it on the down low?
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. So if anyone who's not a new grad shouldn't put it on there.
Wow.
Because there are companies that are specifically looking to hire younger people who are not expecting a lot of money, or who they're not expecting to assign a whole slew of responsibilities. I mean, they're looking for a specific, niche. And so I just worked with a really nice young man who wanted to get a job at the local gym. He's a college student, and that was one of the first things I put in his headline. I think it was aspiring personal trainer and kinesiology bachelor candidate, because the gym is absolutely looking for folks in that age range. No one's going to say that on the job description. It's highly illegal, but I understand their culture. And I go to the gym and I see who's working there, and they're all within his age bracket. So in that instance, it was really helpful for him. Other than that, I highly recommend folks never really leave it. Another reason to take it off is because then folks can start to calculate in their own head where they think someone your age should be in terms of compensation. And that's not really right. Some folks advance quicker than others, and that might take someone 18 months post high school graduation. But that doesn't mean they're not worth a salary that someone who has 20 years post high school education is making.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really important thing to be mindful of. And this person sent in the resume and then asked for some guidance on that exact topic, how to approach re-entering the workforce. Again, forgive me if this is offensive, but I'm just gleaning from this information. I'm guessing what age this person is. I also know that this person is female. And so as we're all
How did you know that?
Because it says Jane Doe.
Well, that's a good. You're really a sleuth.
You know what though? And that's also something I should be mindful of, because there are a lot of androgynous names nowadays. And there's lots of folks that have names that are capitals of states or cities. And like people are getting really creative with naming their children. So that's an old idea. Yeah, or Brooklyn or
Apple.
South.
South.
There you go.
Okay. By the way, Heather, I don't want to interrupt you. I just wanted, before we go, there have been so many questions. I've tried not to bombard you with them,
Yes.
but let me know if you wanted to take a few minutes ever, if it might be a good time, or what you wanted to do with those.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't want to interrupt again.
No, that's great. Thank you for letting me know. So that was pretty much all I wanted to mention on this. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was this specific person, Dan, had asked for some guidance about how to champion what might be a difficult re-entry. And so I wanted to say that from my personal experience, I think the VIP package was most helpful. It's a broad array of courses where Dan teaches everything from, like we mentioned before, familiar and formal education, bottom line statements, boundary statements. And what he does is really give you an awareness of what to listen for so that you can make the determination before you invest your time pursuing this opportunity. Is this really where you want to be? Because the interview process is not one way. They're interviewing you, and you best be interviewing them at the same time. So that's
such a good point, to make sure that you actually have that mindset, right? That, hey, I want a relationship that is two-way. I'm not here to be your employee, and I'm not here to be arrogant. We're just here to work together, right?
Absolutely. That's why I use words like, I'm eager to work alongside you. And
I was just going to say that it's important to talk about who we worked with in the past, because it shows if we say I worked for them, and or if we instead use I worked with people, those little tiny things show.
Absolutely. And there's a sense of accountability in a peer-to-peer partnership. Your responsibility is yours and my responsibility is mine. And the integrity of the partnership is going to depend upon the integrity of the individual. I once heard this woman say something really wise. She said, 2 half people don't make a whole couple. And talking about romance, that you need to come as 2 actualized individuals to create a union. Otherwise, you've just got 2 half-broken people creating whatever that creates. And
like you and I, our union is perfect because we are whole people.
Absolutely.
It's blessed.
Yeah. I mean, one day maybe we'll bless the crowd with our story and tell everyone how we set it up, whatever. You'll have to hang around for that. So.
By the way, would you like, I don't know what your time schedule is, what your time frame is for today.
I would love to play the clip if you can play the.
I would love that. I just don't know how to do that.
Okay. Well, maybe I do. Let me just minimize my screen here.
I could figure it out if you. Oh, I see that there are 2 play buttons. So that must be it.
Might be. I sent it to you in the private message.
Oh, okay. Let me.
Yeah. Just FYI, Dan and I take a whole lot of time learning the software before we jump on it.
We do.
And
Heather, I apologize. I can't see anything in the private message.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I get it again. All right. And if I get, you know what? I could also just send it to everybody that's here in the comments.
Wait. I think I have. Nope, that's not it. Is it the YouTube one?
Yes.
There you go.
Let's see.
I wonder if I'm logged in as you. Wait, what's that?
That's you.
Oh, okay. I can't seem to. I don't know. I'm
okay.
Challenged.
That's okay. I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel, which I'm creating tomorrow. And I titled it The Ramble. And it's basically Dan critiquing a set of news anchors. And what I love is that he points out one of the anchor's reactions to the other anchor. And what I wanted to demonstrate, which is something we'll just do next week, is how one is perceived when they're too wordy, when they're not confident, and when they're really trying to distract someone from the truth with a bunch of detail. I think some people call it word salad. I'm not sure if that's the appropriate term, but we'll show that for you next week. It's really helpful to actually hear me describe the theory and then see what it looks like on video.
Well, you know what, Heather? We could take a minute if you tell me if you kind of can tell me what the link is. I'm having trouble clicking the chat. What happens is it just doesn't let me do it.
Okay.
So if you could tell me where to Google that, or give me the address to write it out, I can do it and then share my screen.
Okay.
People who are techies are listening to me going, "Oh my gosh, somebody help him."
Here, can I email it to you? Will that be helpful?
For sure. That would be great.
Okay. It's actually in the email I sent you this morning.
See how politely she says that instead of saying, okay, hold on. Here it comes. Here we go.
If you didn't take so much time doing your hair, Dan, you would have been able to open the email.
That's it. Okay. So you sent me it this morning. So that means it must be here.
Yeah, but I can do it again because I'm here to make your life easier, and I'm happy to.
You are the. Oh, I remember seeing it. Okay.
Yeah. YouTube
but
link. Nope, I'm gonna do it again.
Looks just like a ray of sunshine.
You know what? I wanted to ask you because that's something I've come across so much in the workplace, where a boss will ask me to send them something, and I'll be like, "Did you not get the 3 ones I already sent?"
You want to say
what? How can someone respond to that situation without being a jerk?
Well, the way that I always preface things like that is, for your convenience, I put that in the email that I sent this morning.
And then what if they come back to you the next day and they say, Dan, where's that email I'm expecting?
For your convenience, I just shot it to you again.
Dan,
excuse me, for your quick reference, not for your convience.
Okay,
that's the phrase that I normally use. And I use that phrase because it's a little different, and it's not so much it's the user focused, for your quick reference, and it makes sense. And it's something that you can say instead of, as I previously mentioned.
Thank you. This is what I'm talking about. These types of things, these nuances are so important to setting the tone. So let's say you sent it on Monday, and then they ask you for it again on Tuesday, and on Tuesday morning you say, for your reference, it's in your inbox, or I don't know if that would be what you would say. And then they come back from lunch and they've asked you again. What do you say then?
I would always just repeat myself and say, oh, for your quick reference, I just shot it to you again, as if you can ask me 1,000,000 times and I'm here to serve you. So I just, for your quick reference, shot it to you again in a chat. Or for example, like what just happened to me. Here's a good example of what just happened. Heather did send it this morning. And what happened was, because I'm not technically fluent all the time in an inbox, for example, it was in there someplace and I couldn't find it. And so Heather, for my quick reference, shot it to me again so that it would be at the top of the email. So you might tell somebody, for your quick reference, I just shot it to you again. You'll find it at the top, because maybe we're annoyed because we just sent it a few minutes ago, but we're not aware of the fact that because of their email system, even though you just sent it, it's someplace buried in there and they can't find it,
100%. And that's why it's always important to come to each interaction with an open mind and not bring in previous traumatic experiences with other bosses, but, and just assume Dan is like another boss I've had in the past. But
by the way, I'm sharing the video.
Perfect.
Okay. So can you see it?
Yes.
Is it these two? Okay. Should I start it at the beginning?
It should be just a clip. I titled it The Ramble.
Okay. There's me. Okay. Here, I will do it now. I'll start at the beginning. Okay.
Right. That's how we talk. You are a very beautiful lady, and I don't mean that anything sexual. I'm just saying, I'm just commenting on your.
Okay, right? Did you see what I mean? In case you missed it, here it is again.
Right. That's how we talk. You're a beautiful lady. You are a very beautiful lady, and that's how we talk. You're a beautiful lady. You are a very beautiful lady, and I don't mean that anything sexual. I'm just saying, I'm just commenting on your.
Okay, right? Did you see what I mean? In case you missed it, here it is again.
Right. That's how we talk. You're a beautiful lady. You are a very beautiful lady, and
should I stop it?
You're a beautiful lady.
Please stop it. Oh, please stop.
I love that one.
It's so good. And I was just learning how to clip it from YouTube too. So I think it was just looping around. But 2 really amazing things happened in that clip. One, the guy was totally scurrying, trying to figure out what words this time would work. He's going on to say that really his messaging was, she's a beautiful lady. So then that would beg me to ask him the question, why not just shout, you're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
If you still have the YouTube tab open, please close it.
I closed it.
Never mind. Then you know what? It's me. Hold on.
Yay, it's not me. Maybe it is me.
Perfect. Yeah. See, we share responsibility and we share course correction all at the same time.
Thank you.
But so what the gentleman was doing is akin to someone who's like a CEO who's applying for a new job, talking all about the amazing things he did 11 years ago.
I see.
He's really trying to almost distract And it's because he's not confident that what he has to offer in recent times is adding value to the reviewer or to the interviewer. And now the woman, who Dan points out very precisely, turns and looks and gives this mad dog look like, oh my God. That's what happens when people do that in the interview. They look at one another, and without saying anything or even blinking an eye, they're exchanging a mental message that this guy is groveling. He's desperate, or he's scared, or he's just not confident that he can solve our problem. So let's just bring someone else in and see if they can.
God, that's great. In an interview, if I were in that position and I noticed that the two people interviewing me or one of them gave each other a look, my instinct would be just to, at that point, shut up. What
Yes.
do you have any tips that people should, things that people should do?
I agree with you. And the same philosophy of your repeating the exact same words, which is such a gift for me to hear, because I'm the type of person that will try and rephrase it and say it differently. And sometimes people just didn't hear it the first time. If you just repeat it the same way, then you guys can all move forward. But in this case, it's more advantageous to repeat the same message because you're secure with that message. There's nothing that you fear about that message. I sent you it's in your inbox for your quick reference, for your convenience. It's in your inbox. It's in your inbox. You didn't do anything wrong, and your words demonstrate that you know that. And so, yeah.
I apologize, but by the way, I meant to clarify that a little bit, since you're talking about that. If, for example, as you deal with the people in different languages, correct? I mean, you deal with people all over the world.
Yes.
And do you do international job help?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So you know how sometimes what I've learned to do as someone who speaks to people in another language, when I say something that people don't understand, you know how you have to rephrase it, and you'll try to rephrase it again because somebody will say, what? What did you just say? And you'll think, oh, and so sometimes instead of repeating yourself, like if I were talking to my father and he was and I were to say, I just sent you an email with that. And he were to say, okay, here I am. Where do I find it? I'd have to think, oh, wait a minute. This guy might be on the homepage of Firefox, thinking that he's in his inbox. So I'll have to rephrase that. It's in your Gmail. Okay, well, here I am right in the email. Okay, he might be still in Yahoo, so I'm going to have to rephrase it. It's in your gmail.com. Is that what you have? So sometimes we do have to rephrase it in different ways because people think that they're following your instructions, but they're not. So that's always a good idea if you believe that may be the case.
Well, that's being perceptive to how the message is being received. And so for the example of, someone's asking for an email that they have 4 copies of, that's a very short, concise message. And there is no more clear way than to say directly it's in your inbox and then we just have to be politically correct and preface with for your convenience and for your reference. I hope one day we live in a world we can just be like, it's in your inbox and like,
or for example, I sent it to your higherwriting.com email. Is that the correct one? To maybe trying to tell somebody, hey, I think you're in Gmail.
Yes, absolutely. So I have so many more questions for you, Dan. I hope we can continue this again because I wanted your opinion on some of the wording that I advise folks to use in their cover letter. I always want to be mindful that I don't sound too passive or too accommodating, or, too many for your conveniences or too many, because I want to establish stature as an equal person, not necessarily someone that deserves equal title in the workplace, but I want to make it known that I'm someone that's going to honor my self-worth every single day. And when I make that known in the interview, someone might not give me the job because that might not work for them. And guess what? That works just fine for me. That's just okay. So,
right. You want to find that right tone and be confident that if this place that I'm applying, if we're not a good match because you really want minions who are serving you all day long, I'm sure there are some, and that's great. And it's disappointing that I thought this was the right match and it's not, but you really shouldn't start to try to bend yourself into pretzels so that you can fit their culture if it's not a good fit. Right?
No, one of the bosses I had that fired me one time said something that's fantastic that I always reference. It was such a great nugget of information. She said, how folks show up in the interview is how they're going to show up to the job. And I thought that's so true. So if I was, for example, 7 minutes late for the interview, then she already has an expectation that I might be 7 minutes late for work every day.
I think that'd be a good expectation.
But she might be telling me by not reprimanding me that that's okay with her. And I might then get the message that showing up 7 minutes late for work is okay. And you know what? In some places it is. It actually
Right. And what's the big, you know, if you're talking 7 minutes, 70 minutes, what's the difference when it all, you know, come on.
Now, that wasn't the case there. No, I was told we start promptly at this. And because that was communicated to me, I knew, oh, okay, I need to set my clock 7 minutes back so that I can show up exactly on time. But
And was that an issue, by the way, showing up late? Is that
we'll save that for another episode.
We'll save that for a different, you know,
that's for an evening clip when everybody's with some popcorn and everyone, you know, when other people have a beer or something. And
okay. And we have that in common. I think that having many jobs can serve you in different ways.
Yeah.
It served both of us, I believe. And I try to, if as long as you take as much as you can, develop, as I should say, as much as you can with each position and really take whatever the lesson was, because you do realize, right, more and more that there is a big lesson in every job. Every job you're supposed to have, you will have, and you will have every job you're supposed to have. So you just have to figure out what's the lesson. Like my mom used to always tell me that Orville Redenbacher only knew how to make popcorn, but he did it really well. And so now he's Orville Redenbacher. So wherever you are, focus on doing your job and really remember Wayne Dyer. Is Wayne Dyer still alive?
I don't know who that is.
Well, I bet he's not alive then. So he was my first kind of guru teacher that I used to listen to a lot. And he always used to say, just remember to have the mindset of I'm here to serve. How can I serve? And as long as you do that, it'll serve you and it'll serve you in the end. And I've really found that to be true. And I know that you've talked about that. And
yeah, can you solve my problem?
Right? Can you solve right? How? And if you keep that in mind, I'm really here to serve the whole world all the time. But Heather, I know you have to go.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so would you rather that we hold? Let's talk this. Let's talk when we hang up about maybe going through some of the questions that we had in a separate video that might not be live, and we could do it sometime this week so that we can get caught up on some of those. What do you think?
That sounds fantastic.
And Heather, I want to get your commitment here because I know everybody's been asking you. I think if you did a real course on resume writing and how those strategies can be implemented by people who maybe like me, I need step-by-step, which you give great instructions. Would you be interested in making a course that you put online about resume writing, or are you more interested in actually helping people do it? You know, find the job.
I'm going to do both because some one-on-one may not be in the cards for someone right now. And maybe some folks learn better when they can pause and play and rewind. And some people really don't want to do it at all. And that's fine too. I'm happy to do it for you. But ultimately there's, like I said, no monopoly on being of service. And you know, that's what we're here to do. And I believe we're doing a great job.
God, you really ate your Wheaties today. I mean, you are on top of it. If I could ask people who are watching this, if you could give me an idea of what platform you enjoy
Thank you.
going to, right? Because some people like Thinkific and some people like Kajabi. I don't know if some people don't even notice, which I never knew there was a big difference between platforms. But for future courses, I'd like to know what a popular platform would be.
And you see how modest Dan is and talks that he's technologically incompetent. The guy is amazing. You know, he edits all of his videos. He puts all of these different software platforms together. He's just incredible. We're just giving him a round of applause here. Honestly.
Heather, you know who is the brains behind my organization.
Okay, let's give Gene a big hand.
Let's give Gene a big round of applause. Yeah, and just as it is, any opportunity I get, I will say thank you, Mom, for everything that you do. So, and thank you, Heather.
And I'll do the same. I want to say thank you, Mom, for everything that you do too. And by the way, she totally said, Dan, that she loved you. So just wanted to put that out.
You know, Heather, and just so for Heather's mom, I think you're like me, where I knew about Heather's mom long before I ever saw her on that video. So you give her props every turn.
Yeah,
so that's good. I was just watching last night. What was I watching? I was just watching a YouTube video where somebody had her son on, and it's beautiful when you see the love between a mother and a daughter. It's so beautiful.
Last point.
Yeah, that's it.
Last point I'm going to make is in hot yoga the other night, there was a mom and son, and the son was so amazing that on his chin, he could arch up score. And the instructor said to the mom, look at your son, look what he can do. And all of a sudden she shrieked. She had never seen him do that before. And by the end of the class, she was teary-eyed. And, you know, I just said, it's so cute that you guys come to yoga together. She goes to hot yoga with all 4 of her kids. It's just the sweetest thing. I don't know. I loved it.
That's great. You know, Heather, I should have to tell you, I've only been in one yoga class my entire life. And I think that it would be I should probably go more, right?
Well, I think we should ask the viewers to vote. Should Dan come to Los Angeles and try hot yoga with Heather? And we'll make a video all about that too.
That would be great because I'm the most, I don't know if it's inflexible. I believe it's inflexible. I can't bend and touch my toes, you know. There's something about that. So I would love to come to LA and do some hot yoga. Now I have to ask, when you do hot yoga, what's the attire?
I mean, some people go in there basically in dental floss, and some people go in there totally.
I hope people bring their own mats.
I mean, there are people who are wearing as little clothing as possible for good reason. I think it's like 95 degrees in the class at a cool point. You know, I just wear regular like yoga pants and a tank top.
God, nobody ever has a heart attack?
I haven't seen that. I mean, sometimes I see triple, like the instructor all of a sudden turns into 3, and then I just start like whispering, like, "Door, open the door." You know, another woman.
Are you sure you're in hot yoga? Because it sounds more like one of those sweat lodge places.
All I know is if you've ever wanted a spiritual experience, you meet God, you meet someone up in hot yoga. I promise you. I don't know who it is, but you meet them face to face. Thank you so much for having me. It's always so much fun. I truly love you. I can't wait to come back. Let me know what our next step is. Thank you to the audience. You guys are fantastic, and I'm happy to help. Let me know how I can.
Heather, thank you for taking over. I can't wait for you to be my new boss. I will talk to you soon.
Perfect. All right. So, talk to you guys later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Heather. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you.